Heartwarming story revealed, billionaire dad's incredible response to his daughter's hidden pain. Nathan Carter seemed to have it all. A mansion that felt like a castle, a bank account that never seemed to dwindle, and most importantly, a beautiful family. But beneath that polished billionaire exterior, he faced a crushing reality. His daughter, Emily, a spirited 17-year-old, was spiraling into her own inner turmoil. With vibrant dreams and aspirations, she often found herself paralyzed by anxiety, struggling to find her place in a world overshadowed by her father's towering legacy. As he watched her retreat into her room after yet another family dinner, his heart tightened. Concern and frustration battled within him. "I've worked hard, and she should feel proud of me," he thought. But deep down, he knew money couldn't solve this. The noise of the outside world faded into a dull hum as whispers swirled in their quaint Ohio town about the beloved local bakery facing impending closure. Instead of ignoring the crisis, an idea sparked within him. This could become their project, a way to connect, a way to lift Emily's burden. "Let us save the bakery," he proposed, a hopeful glint in his eye. Emily hesitated, fear creeping over her. How could she, who felt so small in the shadow of her father's accomplishments, possibly make a difference? But Nathan's encouraging words ignited a flicker of hope. They shared a community that needed them, and in that realization, a bond began to form. The weekends flew by in a blur of laughter and hard work. They painted the walls a cheerful yellow, brought in fresh, warm coffee, and welcomed locals with open arms. Emily began to smile more as her anxiety waned, replaced by the joy of seeing her efforts transform a space. Nathan marveled at her growth, recognizing a new depth of success beyond simple riches. It wasn't about money, it was about connection, the hugs with strangers, the shared laughter over cups of coffee, yet, as they immersed themselves in the community, doubts inching closer began haunting them. Some questioned Nathan's intentions, accusations floating in the air like dry leaves in the autumn wind. "He's just trying to buy their love," muttered one neighbor, while another sighed, "What does he know about struggle?" Emily's heart sank with each whispered judgment. The legacy they were trying to embrace was becoming a weight on her shoulders. Just when it seemed successes were blossoming, Nathan prepared to make a big donation to the bakery, hoping to solidify its future. But tensions erupted as some townsfolk voiced their skepticism. Would this act of charity truly connect them or only widen the gap between their worlds? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Nathan found himself at a crossroads, questioning if his wealth could truly bridge the divide. Behind every doubt was a flicker of fear, but also a glimmer of determination. Would they be able to overcome the societal barriers they faced? As they stood among the bakery's brighter walls, with hope hanging in the air, they realized the journey was just beginning. Would love and hard work be enough to redefine success, or would the whispers of the townsfolk drown those dreams? The next morning, Emily woke up to the sound of her phone buzzing incessantly. She groaned, rolling over in bed, anxiously wondering what new challenge the day would bring. After all the hard work they'd put into the bakery, whispers still lurked like shadows behind every corner. She picked up the phone, dreading that it might be more gossip from town. "Good morning, Emily. Excited for the bakery's grand reopening?" A message from one of her friends read. Surprisingly, it made her chuckle. Even though Barbara usually meant well, the tension still loomed in Emily's chest, aching for reassurance. With a resignation she couldn't quite shake, she slipped into worn jeans and a vintage band t-shirt, her armor against judgment. As she made her way to the bakery, the crisp morning air filled her lungs, reminding her of the warmth they'd poured into that space. When Emily arrived, Nathan was already there, moving boxes and sorting through supplies. His smile when he saw her light up the room, but she could see the unease flickering behind it. "How about you help me with these?" he suggested, gesturing toward a stack of freshly baked goods. "We have to show people what we're about." They worked side by side, kneading dough and mixing frosting. Laughter floated in the air as they shared stories about baking disasters. For a moment, everything felt right, and that familiar warmth began to seep into her heart again. Yet, every time she glanced toward the door, fear drummed in her mind. What would the townsfolk think when they arrived? As the day rolled on, they decorated the shop with colorful balloons and handmade signs announcing the grand reopening. Emily's nerves twisted tighter with every passing hour. It was the little things, the smell of fresh coffee, the sound of trays clinking, that started to settle her heart. Suddenly, she realized she didn't just want this to succeed, she needed it to, for both of them. At noon, the doors swung open. Locals began trickling in, hesitantly at first, filling the bakery with the familiar buzz of small-town chatter. Nathan glanced at Emily, his eyes filled with hope and worry. She nodded, ready to greet each visitor, determined to show them this was not just about her father's money, it was their passion. However, even as the crowd filled the bakery, the whispers followed. "A nice gesture, but can they really make it last?" one woman said to her friend, their voices laced with skepticism. Emily felt her heart drop. How were they supposed to prove themselves if everyone had already made up their minds? Just then, an elderly man walked up to the counter with a hesitant smile. "I'm Joe," he said, extending a hand. "My wife and I used to frequent this place all the time before it closed down." His voice carried nostalgia thicker than cream. Emily squeezed his hand. "We're trying to bring it back to life. I hope you like what we have to offer." She felt a surge of warmth as they talked, sharing stories about the bakery's past. It was a reminder they weren't alone, but as the day went on, Emily couldn't shake off the comments. She caught a glimpse of two teenagers at a nearby table, whispering and pointing. "Just a project for the rich girl," one of them sneered. Each taunt echoed in her mind like a drum, fueling her anxiety. How could they ever overcome this wall of doubt? As the sun sank lower in the sky, her spirits began to lift a bit with the new friendships she was forging. Yet her stomach twisted when a figure stepped into the bakery casting a long shadow. Mayor Thompson, a man known for his critical eye. He scanned the room before locking eyes with Emily. She held her breath, waiting to see what he'd say. Would he see their labor of love or just another failed attempt at charity? In that moment, she realized the stakes were higher than she'd ever imagined. This was not just about saving the bakery, it felt like everything else in her life hinged on what would happen next. And as Mayor Thompson maintained his silence, Emily felt her resolve falter. Could they convince him and the rest of the town that love and hard work were the true measures of worth? The tension tightened around her as they awaited the mayor's response, leaving a wishful question hanging in the air: would he break their hopes, or would he help them rise to meet their community's expectations? The moment stretched like taffy in the warm air of the bakery. Voices became muffled whispers as the crowd hushed. Emily could feel the weight of so many eyes on her. Mayor Thompson, arms crossed and brow furrowed, surveyed the room, taking in the freshly painted walls and the vibrant displays of pastries. His presence felt like thunder on a calm day. Only moments ago, Emily was basking in positive energy, fueled by Joe's nostalgic warmth and the new friendships blooming around her. Now, a chill crept into her bones, reminding her of the whispers that taunted her. What if they were right? What if this really was just a fleeting moment in a story that was destined for failure? "Nice to see the bakery open again, Emily," the mayor finally spoke, his voice booming yet oddly flat. "You've certainly changed things since." He let the words hang, the implication evident. Her throat felt dry, and she could almost hear her pulse racing. "We've worked hard to bring it back, sir," she managed. "It's important to us, is it?" He interrupted, his gaze sharp. "I wonder if you could withstand a real test. What will happen when the novelty wears off?" Emily felt heat rising within her. She opened her mouth to respond but stopped. Did she even know what would happen next? Her confidence threatened to evaporate like steam from a fresh cup of coffee. Shifting her weight from one foot to another, she caught Nathan's worried glare from across the counter. Suddenly, she realized that this moment wasn't just about proving something to the mayor or the town, it was about proving it to herself. Taking a deep breath, she stood taller. I believe in what we're building here. Not just the bakery, but a place where the community can come together again. That's worth fighting for. The mayor raised an eyebrow, almost taken aback by her unyielding spirit. The crowd seemed to lean in, sensing the tension shift. Would he admire her resolve or shoot her down like so many had before? You're right, he said slowly, voice softer yet still cautious. You've got spirit, kid. But spirit alone won't pay the bills or keep the lights on. Just then, the bell above the door jingled like a siren, pulling everyone's attention. In walked a group of familiar faces, Emily's high school friends, carrying balloons and smiles. Surprise! They shouted, filling the bakery with laughter and warmth. Emily's heart soared as the lively energy enveloped her. Could this be the support she needed? As her friends swung into action, chatting with customers and grabbing pastries, Emily watched with a mixture of relief and gratitude. Perhaps the mayor wouldn't be the last word after all. Maybe this little bakery could flourish if the community banded together. For a moment, it felt like the whispers quieted, the voices of doubt replaced by laughter, joy, and a collective purpose. But, Mrs. Harrington, a long-standing town member known for her gossip, stood at the edge, wearing a skeptical expression that curled Emily's stomach. I hope this works out for you, dear, she said, her voice dripping with a mix of sweetness and sourness. Thank you, but I believe it will, Emily replied, determination bubbling in her chest once again. As the sun dipped lower on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the bakery, Emily turned to Nathan, who stood beside her, a smile on his face while a hint of worry glimmered in his eyes. Do you think we can really do this? She asked, uncertainty creeping back in. We have to, he said, his words firm. It's not just about the bakery anymore, it's about all of us. With every heartbeat, hope unfurled in her chest. But as the townsfolk began to leave, whispers swirled back like angry wind. Could their efforts truly be enough? Emily's pulse quickened as Mayor Thompson started walking towards the exit, leaving the atmosphere charged. What would he say next? She clutched the edge of the counter, suddenly aware that the true challenge had only begun. Would the community rally around her? Or would the shadows of doubt return to haunt her dreams once more? Emily took a deep breath as she watched Mayor Thompson head for the door. His back was to her now, but she could feel the weight of his words hanging in the air like a thick fog. Would he take them as a sign of weakness if they failed to support her? The doubts swirled again. Are you okay? Nathan's voice broke through her thoughts, gentle yet insistent. I'm not sure, she admitted, biting her lip. What if it all falls apart? He opened his mouth to respond but hesitated. Instead, he walked closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. You can't think like that. Look around you. Your friends are here. The town showed up today, didn't they? As she took in the scene, her heart squeezed at the sight of her friends laughing and mingling with the patrons, joy sparking in every corner of the bakery. They were pouring their energy into her dream, and she felt a flicker of hope ignite inside her. Okay, she breathed out, more reassured than moments before. Let us make this work. The day wore on in a blur of laughter, sweet aromas, and the clattering of dishes. Emily found herself in the kitchen with her friends, who were helping churn out fresh pastries and coffee. They moved with an infectious enthusiasm that made her heart swell. Let's try a new flavor for the cupcakes. Clara suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. How about raspberry lemon? Sounds perfect. Emily replied, the tension in her chest loosening. Let us do it. In the midst of the chaos, Emily realized how much she had missed the carefree energy of working together, the camaraderie that filled the bakery. She was no longer just fighting to prove herself, She was building something real, alongside people who believed in her. Hours passed like minutes, and as the last customer left with a smile and a cupcake in hand, Emily felt her shoulders finally relax. The room was still buzzing from the day's energy, and as they gathered around the counter, celebrating with the last sips of coffee, her heart felt lighter. Today was amazing. Clara shouted, and her friends cheered in agreement. But just as the joy reached its peak, the door swung open, and in walked a group of older townsfolk, led by none other than Mrs. Harrington. The chatter halted, worry flushing through Emily. Had they come to criticize again? "Good evening, dear," Mrs. Harrington said, her tone unexpectedly warm. "We decided to come back and see what all the fuss was about." Emily's stomach dropped. Would you like something?" she asked, forcing a smile. "Yes, please," Mrs. Harrington replied, her tone somber yet kind. "We've heard good things about your pastries. How about you show us that raspberry lemon cupcake?" "Of course," Emily said, her heart pounding. The group shifted to the counter as she began to prepare the cupcakes. In that moment, she noticed Nathan standing behind her, ready to assist, his quiet presence bolstering her courage. As she finished the cupcakes and served the townsfolk, a warmth unfurled in her chest. Maybe today could shift perceptions, even if just a little. Upon tasting the cupcake, Mrs. Harrington's eyes lit up. "Quite delicious, I must say. If you keep this up, more people might just surprise you." The small compliment felt monumental, and Emily's heart raced with possibility. This might not just be a bakery, it could be a bridge to healing old wounds in the town. "Thank you," Emily replied, a genuine smile blossoming on her face. "I really appreciate that." As the evening drew to a close, Nathan turned to her, a twinkle in his eye. "See? You're not just a baker, you're making a difference." Emily felt a swell of pride and a sense of responsibility. If she could keep this momentum going, maybe they could reclaim what the bakery meant to everyone. But just as hope filled her spirit, a loud crash echoed from the back room. What was that? Emily's heart jumped, anxiety returning with a vengeance. She exchanged a worried glance with Nathan and took a step toward the sound. "What now?" she whispered under her breath. The soft murmur of the gathering crowd faded, replaced by a sudden stillness. They all turned toward the back, holding their breath for answers. Suddenly, the journey felt more perilous than ever. Would the bakery withstand this new storm? Determined, she steadied herself at the threshold, ready to face whatever awaited inside. Emily paused, her heart racing as she pushed open the door to the back room. A cacophony of toppled equipment greeted her, the remnants of what had been a busy evening now scattered across the floor. Flour clouds danced in the air, and a helpless sigh escaped her lips as she took in the scene. An overturned mixer, bags of flour split open, and the unmistakable sound of something fragile breaking in the corner. "Is everyone okay back here?" Nathan called behind her, his voice steady but concerned. "Looks like a baking disaster," she replied, forcing a laugh even as anxiety crept up her spine. She took a cautious step inside, her eyes scanning for anyone in need of help. Then she spotted Clara, kneeling near the mixer with a look of intense focus. "I was trying to grab the flour, but it slipped," she said, her brow furrowed. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted everything to be perfect for the customers." "It's okay, Clara," Emily reassured her, kneeling beside her friend. "We can fix this. Let us just clean it up together." Together, they began to gather the mess. Each sweeping motion felt like a step toward regaining control. Despite the chaos, laughter erupted between them, the sound lifting the weight of earlier uncertainty. As they worked, Emily felt a comforting presence beside her, Nathan's steady hands assisting. "We'll find a way to reboot this," he said out loud, glancing at the scattered ingredients. "Maybe we can create a unique special for tomorrow, a flour explosion cupcake." Clara chuckled, the tension easing from her shoulders. "I love it. And maybe we can get everyone to help us promote it." Just as they finished tidying up, Mrs. Harrington and her friends peeked through the doorway, concern etched on their faces. Is everything all right? She asked, her tone both curious and a bit panicked. Emily took a deep breath, straightening her shoulders, a flicker of determination igniting within her. Just a little mishap, but no worries. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. We're still here, and we'll keep moving forward. Mrs. Harrington nodded, a hint of admiration in her eyes. You're stronger than you think, dear. Keep bringing that spirit into your bakery. Her praise wrapped around Emily like a warm embrace, encouraging her to push through. As the evening continued, Emily felt renewed. The mishap wasn't an end, it was just a curveball of a journey. With her friends at her side, they celebrated the momentum they'd built over the day. The laughter flowed easily, and there was a newfound urgency in their excitement and eagerness to keep their community engaged in a way that was more than just baking pastries. But just as Emily let out a deep breath of relief, the unmistakable sound of a phone buzzing interrupted the lightheartedness. She grabbed her phone from the table, glancing at the notification. It was a message from the town council. Urgent, need to discuss upcoming town meeting, important decisions ahead. An anxious knot began to form in her stomach. This wasn't just about cupcakes anymore. Her dreams hung in a precarious balance as she realized they were all about to face a defining moment. Guys, we might need to talk, she said, her voice steady, but her heart racing. What did the council want? Was this going to affect her bakery, or perhaps the support she'd just begun to foster in the community? With uncertainty swirling in the air once more, Emily felt her heartbeat quickening. What would the town decide, and how would it change everything they had built? Could they really rally together when it mattered most? And as she looked around at her friends, each one of them shining with hope and energy, she couldn't help but wonder if it was time to get ready for the fight of their lives. The journey was far from over. Emily took a deep breath, her mind racing through the implications of that message. The town council meeting loomed ahead like a storm cloud hanging over her bakery. She glanced at Clara and Nathan, their faces mirroring her concern. What do you think they want? Clara asked, her hands fidgeting with the edge of her apron. Nathan crossed his arms, a signature habit when he contemplated something serious. It could be about zoning issues, or funding cuts. Anything really. His voice had a tightness to it that made Emily's heart sink. Or maybe they want to put a stop to our bakery events, Clara added, her voice barely above a whisper. Or they could be supportive, Nathan countered, trying to inject a note of optimism. But Emily struggled with that idea. Their small bakery, which had turned into a community gathering spot, felt so fragile in the face of potential change. We need to be prepared, she finally stated, resolve filling her. We've built something special here, I want to let it go without a fight. Nathan nodded, his eyes brightening. Let us formulate a plan to present at the meeting tomorrow. Gather testimonies from our customers, share what this place means to everyone. Yes. Clara chimed in, excitement replacing some of her earlier fear. We can have everyone come in and write down what they love about us. We can even schedule a little showcase tonight, to give people something to rally behind. As the three friends began to outline their strategy, the atmosphere grew lighter. Emily could feel hope creeping back in. The bakery was more than just a business, it was a lifeline for their community, and that realization sparked something fierce within her. Let us call it the Bakery Loves Back event, Emily suggested, a smile creeping across her face. We'll showcase the love and support we've received, and maybe bring in some special treats to entice folks to share their stories. Clara laughed, a sound that resonated like a bell. It's perfect. Let us get everyone involved. Maybe we can create a big mural of our memories together. They kicked into motion, bustling around a tiny bakery, gathering supplies, and sending messages to their regular customers to come by for the surprise event. Emily felt a wave of energy wash over her. This mishap with the flour was no match for the creativity and spirit buzzing in the air. With every cheerful laugh and every story shared, the bakery glowed with life, reminding Emily of all the joy they had brought into the community. As the evening wore on, warmth and determination filled the small space. Even as the weight of the council meeting loomed ahead, their collective momentum felt unshakable, but just as they wrapped up, with Clara organizing baking sheets and Nathan preparing materials for the evening, Emily froze. A sudden thought hit her hard. What if it's not just about us? She whispered, staring at her friends wide-eyed. What if they want to change more than just our bakery? What if they want to take away everything that makes our town special? Clara's smile faltered. Nathan's brow furrowed deeper. Silence fell. The reality of their situation hit hard. The fight wasn't just for a bakery, it was for their community, the heart of their town. Emily squeezed her fists, determination boiling anew. We need to truly unite. We can't let fear silence our voices. If we stand firm, we can change everything. And with that challenge looming over them, Emily felt her resolve strengthen. Could they actually rally the town together before that crucial meeting? The next few hours would decide their future. She glanced at Nathan and Clara, her heart pounding with purpose. But in the depths of her mind, doubt whispered. Would it be enough? Would everyone rally as they hoped? Tomorrow would come quickly, and with it, the moment of truth. The next morning, Emily awoke to the sun streaming through her kitchen window, illuminating flour dust dancing in the air. But the warmth of the light didn't match the chill in her heart. Today felt different. It was as if the weight of the entire town rested on her shoulders. She hurriedly dressed, throwing on a sunflower-embellished apron that always made her feel cheerful, a reminder of the joy she hoped to spread. Clara was already in the bakery, arranging freshly baked pastries with a precision that mirrored her personality. Hey, you! Clara called out, shaking Emily from her worries with her bright smile. Look at all this. People are pouring in already. Emily glanced at the crowd gathering outside. Regular customers, excited families, and new faces grabbed the attention of passers-by. She felt a swell of gratitude. In a world that felt increasingly isolating, this was a reminder that community mattered. Let us get started. Emily declared, her voice shaking with anticipation. Together, they began peeling back the layers of their fears, inviting everyone to share their favorites. Memories filled with laughter, warmth, and the sweet aroma of baked goods filled the air as customers penned their stories on large, colorful sheets hung around the bakery. Nathan, ever the thoughtful planner, had set up a corner where kids could decorate cupcakes while adults wrote testimonials. The bakery burst with laughter, the sounds mingling with the scent of cinnamon and fresh bread. It was a celebration of everything they represented. As the crowd grew, Emily couldn't help but notice Mrs. Jenkins, an elderly lady who came every Thursday for her almond croissant. She rarely spoke but always brought a smile. Today, she stood at the mural, a tear glistening in her eye as she wrote, "This bakery is my home." It was both heartbreaking and uplifting. From one small room, they were making a real impact. Taking a deep breath, Emily stood before the crowd to share her own story. I believe our bakery isn't just a business. It's a safe place for all of us, a place where we gather, share, and create memories. We cannot let anyone take that away from us. A collective murmur rippled through the crowd, faces of support and determination giving Emily strength. As the day progressed, people intertwined through the space, bonding over their shared interests. A couple even offered to help out with the baking in the evenings, while another family pledged to rally their neighbors. Hope became infectious, and the fear Emily felt transformed into a burgeoning excitement. But just when the atmosphere felt electric, the door swung open, and in walked the town council members. The group paused, murmurs echoing around the bakery. Brian Pendleton, the mayor, stepped forward, his expression unreadable. "Emily," he said, his voice booming but devoid of the usual warmth, "we need to talk about what is happening here. We can't overlook this level of community engagement." Every heartbeat echoed in her ears. What did this mean? Was this a good sign, or was change coming that would tear their newfound joy apart? Feeling a hand on her shoulder, Emily turned to see Nathan, his face as serious as hers. She could almost hear the weight of his thoughts. Should they fear the storm brewing, or celebrate the unexpected attention? With uncertainty swirling in her gut, Emily took a step forward, determined to make their voice heard. "We'll talk, but we're not backing down. Not now." What would the council's next move be? With their fate hanging in the balance, Emily felt her heart race as she anticipated the repercussions of standing her ground. Would they rally completely behind her? Would the town's love be enough against the council's decisions? The moment hung heavy, and she could only hope for the best. Emily stood firm, her heart thudding loud against her ribs as she faced Brian Pendleton and the scrutiny of the crowd. The bakery felt smaller, the air charged with uncertainty. Every eye waited with questions, every heart beating alongside her own. "Do you want to tell us what you think we should do, Mayor?" Clara leaned closer to Emily, her voice barely a whisper, but a fire lit in her eyes. The mayor drew a deep breath, clearing his throat. "Your bakery has become a beacon for this community," he began, each word hanging in the air. "But what happens when a business becomes too entwined with personal ties? Economies, regulations, they all play a part. We need to discuss the future of this place." Emily glanced around the room. Mrs. Jenkins's teary eyes, the kids smearing frosting on their cupcakes, families flocked together like flowers blooming in a garden. Neither the mayor's weighty words nor the tense atmosphere could dim the light that flickered in this room. "Whatever happens, we're not just a business," Emily asserted, her voice louder now, shaking off doubt. "We are a family here, and families support one another. Why can't the council see this isn't just about profit?" Nathan squeezed her shoulder tighter, she could feel his steady determination intertwining with her own. "Yes. This bakery has brought joy and comfort. The stories you hear, the laughter, it transcends baking," he said, his eyes darting around the audience, trying to rally their spirits. "This is about heart. It's about community." The room erupted in murmurs again, heads nodding in agreement. Emily felt fire inside her and fought the instinct to deflate at the mayor's stern expression. She pressed on, emboldened. "We've all missed events together, we've healed from loss together. This place is vital." The mayor stared at Emily, his brow creasing as he processed her words. She wanted to see a spark of understanding, something to tell her he felt the essence of what made the bakery so special. Finally, he opened his mouth to speak again. "You're not wrong, Emily. But we must balance this passion with practicality. The developments planned in this area are extensive." "What if," Clara interjected, her voice shaky but trying to remain hopeful. "What if instead of just cutting back, we turn this into something bigger? A place where people, truly everyone can gather, share, and create. We can draw more people in." Excitement sparked in the crowd, rising like the dough in the ovens. Children bounced in place, their cupcakes halfway decorated. The bakery pulsed with energy, each heartbeat echoing a sense of hope. Brian rubbed his chin, caught off guard by the swell of ideas. "You really believe this would work? This unified approach?" "Yes." Everyone chimed in unison, even Mrs. Jenkins added a frail but firm, "I'm behind you, Emily." The mayor's demeanor softened slightly. "Then let us do this, I'll arrange a town hall meeting. You all can present your ideas." A wave of relief washed over Emily, butterflies fluttering in her stomach. Hope had just cracked open a door. "Thank you." She breathed, overwhelmed. As the atmosphere lightened, the bakery buzzed with discussions about the upcoming meeting. But behind the joy, a new fear crept close to Emily's heart. Would their voices truly make a difference? Could they collectively rise against potential change? As people shared plans and dreams, only one thought lingered at the back of Emily's mind: what if they weren't enough to sway the council? But before she could explore that feeling, Nathan grinned, pulling her out of her spiraling thoughts. "You know, all this talk about unity and community? We still have a cupcake war to win. Let us make the most of it." Emily chuckled, but her heart raced. She had stepped into the ring, but the real fight was ahead. They would need more than just passion. Would they find the strength to carry through against the challenges waiting for them? As laughter filled the room once more, she realized the real struggle was just beginning. Each moment of connection strengthened her resolve, but doubt lurked like an unseen shadow. What would the town hall reveal? Would the bakery's future sparkle or crumble under stress? The weight of those questions lingered in the air, and somewhere deep down, she knew the time for bravery had just begun. Emily woke the next morning to the sun streaming through her window. She blinked against the golden light, remembering the previous day's events. The possibility of a town hall meeting filled her with both excitement and dread. Today marked the beginning of a challenge, one that could either uplift the bakery or threaten its very existence. The air was thick with potential as she got ready, pulling on her apron and tying her hair back. Butterflies danced in her stomach, a wild fluttering that matched the ticking clock on the wall. How could they ensure that their vision reached the council? How could she lead this community feeling so heavy with doubt? At the bakery, the familiar scent of fresh coffee and baked bread wrapped around her like an old friend. Mrs. Jenkins was already there, arranging pastries on the display. "Good morning, dear," she called cheerfully, but Emily caught the hint of concern in her voice. "Morning, Mrs. J, nervous about the meeting?" Emily asked as she placed a tray of cupcakes on the counter. Mrs. Jenkins nodded, a hint of tremor in her hands as she adjusted a few items. "I just hope they see what we see. That this place is more than just a shop." Her eyes bolted with an unspoken connectedness. "I know," Emily replied softly. "We've fought through so much. This bakery has been our shelter. I won't let it go without a fight." As customers trickled in, the bakery buzzed with chatter. Laughter dripped into the air as children picked out their favorite pastries. The spirit of the place seemed to lift, filling Emily with hope. They were building something together. Each cupcake frosted was a symbol of their commitment. By noon, a regular crowd had gathered, and Emily stepped away from the counter to address them. "Hey everyone!" she shouted over the clinking of dishes and laughter. "I just wanted to say how grateful I am for each of you. Our bakery needs your voices at the town hall next week. If we can all come together, it could mean everything." The response was instant, a surge of smiles and elbows nudging in encouragement, and she felt compelled to press further. "We can share our stories, our memories, show them what this place truly means to us." Cheers erupted, their enthusiasm washing over her as she felt the weight lift from her shoulders, but as they discussed options for the meeting, Emily's thoughts returned to the looming concerns. Would the stories be enough? Would they translate the heartfelt moments into something that made an impact? The end of the day approached, and as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows through the bakery's windows, Nathan stepped in, his demeanor as rigid as Emily felt inside. "We need to be strategic," he said, leaning over the counter, eyes serious. "We can't just walk in there with sentiment. We need numbers. We need to show that we can bring people together in more than just spirit." "But how?" she whispered, her heart sinking with the weight of uncertainty. He grinned, igniting a spark. "What if we host a community event? Something everyone can join in. Get the buzz going before the meeting, show them our strength. Let us draft a plan today, print flyers, gather ideas." The glow from his words ignited something inside her, a determination that felt electric. Emily straightened, breathing deep. "Yes. An event. We can showcase local talents, bring in farmers, we'll create a festival." And just like that, the thrill of their brainstorming began to weave new energy into the room. Practicality and heart converged, bolstering her confidence as they gathered ideas. Emily paused, her thoughts speeding ahead, envisioning a vibrant scene filled with laughter, music, the aroma of irresistible treats wafting through the air. But it wasn't just a festival, it was a fight for the heartbeat of their community, the very soul of what the bakery represented. As ideas continued to flow, a single question lingered at the forefront of her mind: would this event be the lifeline they needed? Or would it all fall short, drowning beneath the weight of doubt? With each passing moment, the impending town hall loomed larger, the stakes higher. Would they be ready to stand united and face whatever came their way? Only time would tell, and the clock was ticking. Emily woke up to the sound of birds chirping outside her window. The sunlight poured into her room, warm and inviting. Today was the day. The day they would face the town council and reveal the heart of what they had built together. She quickly dressed in her favorite floral apron, feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety swirl in her stomach. As she stepped into the bakery, the familiar scent of freshly baked bread filled the air, filling her with hope and strength. Clara was already there, arranging the pastries, her eyes shining with determination. "We're ready for this, Em. We've put so much into it. This is our moment," she said, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. Emily scanned the bakery, which was bustling with customers. She spotted Mrs. Jenkins seated at her usual table, sipping coffee and smiling at the warmth of the community gathered around. It was these faces, these memories that filled her with purpose. She took a deep breath, steadied her nerves, and called everyone to pay attention. "Hey everyone. Before we head to the town hall, I just want you all to know how much you mean to us. This community has shown us strength and love, and it's time we shared that with the council," she said, her voice shaking slightly but gaining strength with each word. Cheers erupted from the crowd, a wave of support that washed over her like sunshine breaking through clouds. The camaraderie, the laughter, they were all there to support one another, and it felt like a warm hug wrapping around her heart. Nathan stepped forward, joining her at the counter. "Let us show them, not just tell them. Let us bring the spirit of our bakery to town hall. We have stories, we have laughter, and we have this community buzzing with excitement. Let us get ready to bring that energy." The room buzzed with excitement as ideas flowed like the pastries on their shelves. They decided on their approach. They would create a testimony board, spitball ideas for a rallying speech, and even create a visual display showcasing pictures of the bakery's journey. Each proposed idea was met with more simple yet powerful affirmations. "Remember the first cupcake Clara baked?" Emily chuckled, glancing at the slightly shaky frosting and crisp edges. "We pulled it together and laughed so hard. We didn't let it stop us, just like we won't let anything stop us now." As smiles covered the faces around her, Emily felt the worry lift. Soon, boisterous laughter and excitement echoed throughout the bakery, and together they decorated the space. Bright colors, smiles, photos, and signs filled every corner. The time passed quickly, and the hour of truth arrived. As they gathered together, Emily could feel the energy crackling in the air. They stood united, hand in hand, ready to face the flood of uncertainty ahead. Arriving at town hall, butterflies filled Emily's stomach again, but this time, it was different. This was the moment to showcase why their bakery mattered. The room was large, filled with town council members and townsfolk who had come to support them. She looked at Nathan and Clara, finding reassurance in their smiles as she stepped up to the podium. "Good evening, everyone," she began, her heart racing but her voice steady. "We're here today not just to talk about our bakery but to share the very essence of what it represents for our community." One by one, community members chimed in, expressing warmth and nostalgia tied to their memories of the bakery. Mrs. Jenkins stood, her voice shaking but infused with spirit. "This place warmed my heart through some of my toughest days. It's not just pastries, it's a home." Emily felt a swell of gratitude. The tension in the room shifted as smiles replaced skeptical expressions. They weren't just speaking, they were sharing their hearts, and the council listened, really listened. With every testimony, the room crackled with energy. Emily's own voice grew stronger as she shared her vision for a community united with love and spirit. Her words painted a picture of vibrant events, laughter ringing through the air, and a shared place that stood for everyone. As the final story was shared, Emily scanned the council's faces. Brian Pendleton, the mayor, leaned forward, eyebrows raised, but there was a glimmer of respect in his eyes. "Your passion is palpable," the mayor finally said, his tone softening. "We can't overlook the impact you all have made." The room erupted cheers that rang through the chaos of uncertainty, filling it with relief and hope. The bakery wasn't just surviving, it was thriving, with a fate no longer hanging in the balance. Emily's heart soared. The fight had brought them closer, the community united as warriors battling for their shared love of home. As they exited the town hall, the air buzzed with possibilities. Clara clasped Emily's hand. "We did it. We really did it. We're only just getting started," Emily beamed, feeling the warmth of their journey wrap around her. And together they stepped into the world outside. Their journey was far from over, but each day brought them closer to not just saving a bakery but breathing life into the very fabric of their community. Remembering the support surrounding them, Emily felt a radiant smile beam on her face. In all the noise, she realized they were powerful together, and then, a thought erupted in her heart: let us bake on. Now, it's your turn as well. Don't wait not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep inspiring stories alive. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. You need to show your support. Only true fans know how critical these actions are.